This program brought to you by Brewski's Bar and Grill, located in Utica, Minnesota. Your one-stop shop for delicious burgers, fries, pizzas, and more.
Welcome to Sports Backtalk with Boley and Ringer. Hey! Thank you. Anyway, your hair looks great, Michael.
Where is everybody?
Hey, it's March.
And we're early.
And we're early, and it's light outside. That's the best part of this whole
I
thing.
think it's the first show we've done when it's light out.
Well, next week, no matter if we don't start till about 7 o'clock, it's going to be light.
Yeah.
Because we're going on daylight savings
are?
next Saturday.
The day we leave for St. Pete
No,
Beach?
the week before you go.
This coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday, I read that we lose that hour of
Spring
sleep.
ahead.
Spring ahead, baby. Here we go. Light till about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night is going to feel like summertime again. Here we go.
Yeah, it sure does.
Because it was about 12 below this morning, and it felt like about 40 with the wind.
This seems early for spring ahead.
It seems early, but
I might be wrong.
that's the way it used to be in the old days.
I don't get why they do it. They should do it like every month.
If I remember right, it was George W. that changed that and made it even earlier.
They should do it every month. Take off 15 minutes. Not for these hours.
So we are officially into March Madness.
Yeah.
Even though the high schools have been for a while, and now this week, towards the end of this week, the basketball tournaments the big conferences will get into all their stuff, and the Big Ten next week, and the women's will get started this weekend. Yep. And I know the NSIC is having their championship games tonight, I think, or semifinals tonight. You can watch those on Midco Sports Net, and so it's in full swing. And we got to do Pee Wee A regional hockey over the weekend on the radio. We had a great time with that again.
Lots of comments, lots of nice comments.
And did you get the email that I forwarded to you?
Yeah, that was another nice one.
That was very nice of him to respond back to us.
Proctor Coach thought it was cool.
You guys probably don't care. So I want to start with the NFL Combine. We watched a little bit of it on Friday night.
Yeah, we did.
And then you told me that when you left on Saturday after the Pee Wee hockey game, you might go home and watch some of it so you were getting ready for the draft.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
No.
All right. Well, then I guess that ends our conversation.
Well, no, just one little play on it.
Yeah.
I look at the Combine as a glorified punt, pass, and kick contest.
I like that. Okay. That's very good.
Because you cannot tell me what kind of football player that guy is going to be when he actually gets on the field. Because I remember growing up, I never won a punt, pass, and kick. Bruce Raboy never won one. Okay, our whole starting backfield, wide receivers, offense, none of them won a thing. The guys who won our punt, pass, and kick never played football in high school.
So what do you attribute that to?
Well, they were good at kicking and throwing the ball.
But they weren't good at.
But they weren't football players.
Okay. Right? So, but they give the Wonderlic test or whatever it is, the test that they give to the guys. Do they find out about what kind of players they're going to be on the field when they take that written test?
Well, that's kind of like the Herb Brooks test he gave all his players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. There's psychological stuff, and they want to know the size of everything. I mean, their hands, their feet, their wingspan, and they put it all together, and if it basically comes down to one or two guys, they use those numbers to maybe make a decision.
Yeah, because
you can't always check this part.
Yeah, you can check the heart.
No.
That does show on the field. But I'll come back and we'll talk about the New England Patriots because it always comes back to them.
Yeah.
They always seem to find guys that maybe the other teams aren't looking at, but they seem to make them succeed. So is it more about the interview and the testing and what they can do inside of here in the brain, what they can absorb and translate onto the field that makes them so good? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think it comes down to when the players come in the first week of practice, there's a foundation that's been laid, and you got Tom Brady and you got Bill Belichick, and they say, here's how you got to play, and if you don't, you're gone. Simple as that. Go play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that's such a happy place to be right now. So I guess they look at if they tell their players, if you want to win a Super Bowl, just listen to what we got to say.
So does that mean in your mind they should get rid of the Combine? Is it unnecessary?
Well, you made a good point about the Combine.
Oh boy.
You forgot that you actually made a good point. he mentioned the fact that there was nobody there.
Yeah, there's nobody. Yeah. You would think the NFL, who is about the almighty dollar, you'd think that they would be filling the seats inside of Lucas. Is it still Lucas Oil Stadium? You would think in Indianapolis they would have $50 seats in the lower bowl and $20 seats in the upper bowl, and they'd have 50,000 people there screaming. But I suppose at that point, you can't get the job done talking to the guys, telling them what they got to do. There's too much racket going on. I don't know.
Well, all the original NFL drafts, if you remember right, of course, all the general managers all smoked, and it was basically just a smoke-filled room.
Yeah.
And there was no audience or crowd or back room or war room or interviews of players. They just basically
or ESPN holding up the draft so they can finish their story rather than just letting the draft go on.
And the Mel Kiper of the world. And I did find this out. Mel Kiper was allowed for the very first time into the NFL Combine. First time ever this year. Find that amazing.
Why was he not allowed in? What?
Here's my guess.
Now you really got me pondering.
Robert Irsay owned the Baltimore Colts at the time before they moved to
Indy. Okay.
And it was the 1983 draft, and or was it? No, it was a later draft, and they picked a guy by the name of Trev Alberts. He's now the athletic director, I believe, at Nebraska Omaha.
You hit right on the head there, I believe.
And I think he played at Nebraska. Well, Mel Kiper basically said Robert Irsay could have got Trev Alberts in the second round, and that he should have picked this guy. He was the best guy on the board. Well, of course, Robert Irsay is watching this, and they got on camera Robert Irsay just blasting Mel Kiper about he's never played it down in his life, and he's down here and making comments. That was the beginning of, the mock drafts and all that. So I believe Robert Irsay, considering it's held at Lucas Field in Indianapolis, probably put a kibosh on allowing.
Interesting. I guess I had never.
That's what I'm here for, Rainer. The little things. Yeah, the little things.
So, anything else to add on the Combine?
No, I mean, we talked too much about it already.
All right, I want to talk about last week when we were here. We talked about the trade deadline in the NHL.
Yeah.
Let's first start about the Wild.
Yeah.
They got rid of Granlund and what they all did right before the trade deadline. How have the Wild fared in your mind since then?
Well, if you saw me on Twitter, it was a morning of lows and an evening of highs for Bully Boy.
Yesterday.
Yes.
I was following you yesterday morning, but I will tell you that I was working last night, so I
was Twitter hating because of the Cunnin hit.
Oh gosh.
I cannot believe how
I let him even?
How Twitter people are, they especially in sports, and those are the people I follow, is the sporting Twitter world, because anybody who makes a comment on politics, automatically I either block or unfollow or don't want anything to do with them. But anyways,
so if I put something pro-Trump or anti-Trump out there, you're going to cut me off?
One of my best friends, Brad Olson, I cut him off.
If I make one?
One comment.
Wow. Okay. What if I retweet something?
If you say I apologize, Bully, I didn't mean to post that.
Or if I say I love you, man?
Not that I'm like a big follower. I'm a big follower, but I just don't believe that that's and a lot of people do it. They use it as a way to vent, and they're all stupid, because I've always looked at politics as it doesn't matter who's president, okay?
Yeah,
nobody's doing the right thing regardless if it's a Democrat or a Republican in the party. It's still the same thing. They haven't fixed health care. Okay, our taxes are all too high. Okay, everything's not good. So am I right?
I said, ooh, they're talking politics.
Yeah, here I go, right? After
he just said,
well, Bully, I didn't say it wasn't hypocritical.
Okay, so
right after this would be a good transition to our discussion on religion.
Yes.
I don't know anything about that.
So back to the Wild and the Cunnin hit. That's how we got.
Yeah, the Cunnin hit. Of course, all these Flame fans said it was no intent. Which, I guess the joke's on us, because that's the way the NHL player safety said also, as they said there was no intent. I showed it to you. I showed it to probably 35 people in the Ice for Kids arena. All of them Canadian people.
Minus me.
Okay, minus Ringer.
Yep.
And all of them, some of them, big Calgary Flames fans, of course Jets fans, and there's a mixture,
Yeah.
some Boston Bruins fans, all of them said definite intent. Anybody who played the game
Yeah.
knew that that was intent. Okay, talking to Gary Beck, we both said we've not done that, but in order to protect yourself, you maybe put your arm around somebody, but
Drive the head into the
drive
board.
the head? Not. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I might protect myself by getting my arms up, but definitely intent. And I don't know what George Peros and why he is in charge of NHL player safety is amazing because he's an ex-goon.
So is this?
He's an ex-goon ringer.
How do I say this? Is this not payback or retribution or lack of doing something because of the whining the Wild have done in the past?
What whining have they
Well,
done?
with the hit on Mikko back in November, the Calgary hit, and then the Dumba stuff. I mean, and all the whining that's gone on
Wow.
because of it. Is this kind of like, well, I'm sick and tired of hearing the Wild whine. That's all they do. I ain't even gonna acknowledge that this was even something going on here because all they do is whine and complain about it.
Actually, Boudreaux, you'll never see him whine or complain. Never. He knows that's all part of it. There's nothing he can do. He won't agree with some of the stuff that Tkachuk has done.
Sure.
And again, he tried doing more stuff again at the end of the game the other night, if you noticed.
I didn't.
And of course, the Wild don't have anybody that'll stick up for our guys. Like Foligno, everybody says, "Oh, Foligno." Foligno doesn't. He's not that big of.
If you're that kind
he's
of
not
guy,
a good fighter
you
anyway.
do it every time, not just every once in a while. And that's what I see with Foligno. He'll do it every once in a while. He'll come to the
Well,
defense.
he does, but when he goes up against a heavyweight, I mean, he's going to get waxed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we don't have anybody. We don't have a Bugard anymore, and I don't think we need him anymore. But against a team like Calgary, you do, because they have those types of players. And like a lot of people in Wild Twitterville has basically said, oh, we don't mind the Avalanche anymore. The most hated team now is Calgary because they keep hurting all our guys. Cunnin's very lucky. Okay, he could have fractured his skull on that.
Huh?
And people say, well, he didn't have any concussions. Well, concussions might not happen the day after, the day of. He could have concussion symptoms 2 weeks from now based on that hit. And to me, it's a shame, it's a sham, but it's George Peros. Okay, the guy lived as a goon. He didn't do anything else, nothing else. He fought. He was not other than that. He was not a value to the Anaheim Ducks during his whole career. Okay, and he went to Princeton, so I guess that makes him smart but dumb at the same time.
Okay, so
Anyways.
you got out the point of my question, which was
I always
how
do.
did the Wild do after the trade deadline? How did we do? With
I liked it.
Yeah.
We're faster.
We're faster.
We're
But
more
wait a minute.
passion. We got more passion.
Okay, you said the word here, and I don't understand why we're going down this road. Were we fast before? The biggest thing that I've heard.
No, we weren't.
The biggest thing that I heard about this team last year when we got beat by Winnipeg was they're too big, they're too strong, they take away our speed, we can't use our finesse to do it because the playoffs are played a different way. So now you're telling me that we're better and all we did was get faster. Well, to me that means when the playoffs start on April 12th, and if we're in it, we're screwed.
Well, actually, no. I think if we get in, I like our chances better now, even though, okay, we're going to make more mistakes, this group.
Okay.
But they're going to go. And if you've watched them the last 5-6 games, which I finally have done again, okay,
No, because you
I'm
told
finally.
me you told me
well,
we
I'm
were
back
done.
in. Where's that wagon?
We are done.
No, I'm
You
back
said
in.
I can't watch them anymore. And I went with you and I said, okay, we're not watching them anymore. And then there you are back on Twitter world, ripping them apart and building
When?
them up and every.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Bowie's happy now. I like what's going on.
So you're back on the bandwagon.
Was the
So now you're
does the Niederreiter trade look bad out of all of them with Rask? Yeah. Rask has only played a couple games and he got hurt. But give Nino time. He'll get bored and he'll go through the motions again.
So are you telling me now the Wild are going to make the playoffs? They're in.
Yeah. If they play like they did the last... I know. I'm such a fraud.
Where am I going? I don't.
I am a fraud. Well, no, No, if they play like they did the last 3 games, Ringer, I mean, it's amazing how 2 players, even Hunt. I like the Hunt defenseman out of Bemidji State. But with Fiala and Donato, they're north-south players. Okay, they go straight. Okay, and with speed, I mean, the knock on Donato is he didn't have great legs. Well, I think he has very good legs. I think he's got adequate speed. He's more than adequate. Plus, he can shoot while skating. Okay, where a lot of players, and I won't mention names because they are traded now. Okay, they needed to look and then shoot. Where Fiala, Donato, big difference. Now, what's his name got stoned about 3 times last night? Fiala did.
Okay.
He should have had about 3 goals. But what I like about him, when he gets the puck, it's gone. He skates and he shoots while he's skating. Where if you watch a couple of the other guys we got rid of, okay, and I won't mention their names, they were always looking and then shooting. Okay, the best scorers ever, and this may not make sense.
Gretzky?
They are not aiming for a spot when they're taking a shot. Okay, now on a breakaway, yes, when they're all alone. But when there's traffic and there's bodies, they are shooting to hit the net. Okay, and some are better at it than others. Okay, some can pick up a hole a little quicker than others, but in most cases, my brother was a pure goal scorer. I'm not saying that because he's my brother, but people would agree with me on this. And Gerald would, anytime he was around the net, he was always a threat to score, whether he was behind the net, in a corner, out deep. He just had a knack for putting the puck in the net. And that's just something that he had, and there isn't a lot of those types of players out there. So goal scorers just shoot at the net and hope the heck it goes in.
Okay, how about the rest of the NHL?
How about the rest
How
of the
about a week after the trade deadline? Who's
Columbus doesn't look good. Okay, they made all the moves. They got rid of their whole draft next year. And Duchesne, and again, you got to look at the characters they brought in. Okay, Duchesne's kind of a guy I don't want to play anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, and kind of a free spirit, but they moved a lot of assets, and so far I think they've lost 3 or 4, and are out of the playoff picture right now. So. We'll see what happens with them the rest of the way. Bobrovsky and Panarin, they're not going to be there next year. They're unrestricted free agents, and both have said they want to go elsewhere. So they're basically, Columbus is throwing everything into the hat this year, but they're not winning.
Isn't looking good.
That's why I like what's going on now with the Wild is, skill-wise or talent-wise, on paper, are they as good as they were 3 weeks ago? No. But then again, Ringer, we've had that paper mache the last 6 years, and it's gotten us what? 2 first-round wins, 4 early exits.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still got to want to play the game, and you still got to play the game in order to be effective. And I think they were good moves, and nothing. I mean, I love Mikael Granlund, great player. Okay, but he needs to be in the right team, and I think he's on the right team now. Okay, he's kind of an angle guy. He's more east-west. He likes to see the plays develop, and he's going to be a big help. And plus, I think him not being the guy, where you got Forsberg and Johansson and Subban and Yossi in Nashville, he's like the 5th or 6th man. And I think that'll help him come playoff time, because with the Wild, all everybody did was go beat up on Granlund because they knew the Wild couldn't do anything about it. Okay?
Okay.
So the Wild are a better team.
Minnesota Twins, about a week of spring training, more wins than losses.
They do? I don't know. Every time I'm looking in the doggone internet, they're losing.
You got to look every day.
How's my boy?
How's your boy, Miguel?
All of them.
Well, Miguel hasn't
I know he
hasn't
hasn't played. Buxton's been hitting, but I don't know if he's continued.
3 home runs so far. Barrios, I listened to a couple innings yesterday on
Scoreless?
on KGHS. He gave up a hit, but sounded like he had things going on. The pitches were working. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Hopefully, we'll go check one out here in a couple weeks, whether it's the Twins or not. I know they get into Port Charlotte. Where's that from? Tampa, St. Pete? I don't know.
I have no clue.
It's where Tampa Bay plays their spring
Spring training.
training,
Okay.
which doesn't make sense. Why don't they just stay in Tampa Bay?
Because they want to be close to those other teams so they don't have to travel very
But
far.
actually, did you know that the Tampa Bay Rays actually play in St. Petersburg?
I did know that.
There you go.
I did know that. Are we ready to talk state hockey tournament? Is
Yeah,
that
let's
what's
do that. That's the main
let's get it over.
objective. You know, this is kind of an anniversary right
This
around
is
this
an
time.
anniversary
For us.
because this will be season number 4, kind
Yes,
of officially
this
starting.
is kind of the start of season number 4. When we started this, the Broncos were starting their playoffs at the time. I believe the quarterfinals, and so we're about a week and a half, 2 weeks
yeah, you're
after
right.
our anniversary. So 4 years.
Is that kind of meaning that we're getting closer to our death?
We're
than
getting
to our
close.
beginning?
No, we're getting closer to the big time. Okay, I keep putting it out there on Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm trying to get, maybe there's a producer that I went to school with, and maybe he just laughs
Just
at me and
never know.
says, "Well, why don't
What
you just
the-
give him a show?"
Let's just put them on ESPN and let's get it over with.
Yeah.
Or FSN or wherever.
I mean, I've seen some. I mean, really, the guy out of Levitard and his dad. Do you call that entertainment? We have to be better than that, right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
That's
I
not
can't
to me.
believe-
That's
They must have signed a nice contract. that
somebody.
they can't
Yeah,
get out.
somebody. Yeah.
You want to start with A or double A?
Well, single A.
Single A's on the top of the bracket that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are we doing this?
Yeah, let's work our way through the A bracket and we'll talk about
Well,
it.
A's always seems to be a lot easier, and a lot more people are right on the single A bracket.
Well, because Hermantown and whoever else used to be there all the time.
Matamidi and Totino Grace now they're
game-
moving up next year. But anyways, first game.
Game 1, North Branch and St. Cloud Cathedral. Cathedral's the number 2 seed coming into the tournament.
Yeah, North Branch, a team without Narina.
And with the ugliest uniforms maybe that God has ever put on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
That I saw in a picture on Twitter the other day. My apologies if you're a North Branch Vikings fan. I'm stunned. I mean, you got to go out and play good in those jerseys because otherwise.
They're lucky to have jerseys. They don't have an arena. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's lots of turmoil.
And St. Cloud Cathedral beats them by how many goals?
Oh, boy, I got a good friend who I bought a shirt from on Twitter. Good guy, he's a North Branch guy, and they actually gave him free tickets to the state tournament because he's been backing North Branch so much on Twitter. And well, St. Cloud's going to win this by 6.
That's the number. Six is the
There's
number.
an interesting information here.
Oh gosh, he's got interesting
There's
information.
a kid by the name of Brady Meyer.
On
6'5", 190 pounds.
from North Branch.
He should be on the North Branch High School team.
And he's playing for St. Cloud Cathedral.
No, he's not. He's playing somewhere.
Oh.
But he's going to UMD, I believe,
How do you know this?
because I'm smart.
Who? Because you saw it on Twitter means it's true?
No, he's 6'5", 190 pounds.
And he's not playing for North
He's
Branch.
not playing at North
How
Branch.
do you know this?
Because
How do you know that he shouldn't be playing for North Branch?
on
Are you
Twitter.
going to reveal this
My
information?
friends. I got friends.
I've got friends. Who
They're all
said
Twitter friends, meaning they're kind of fictitious.
so? Okay.
I've met a couple of them,
So
though.
you're saying North Branch, if they had the 6'5", 190-pound guy, they would give Cathedral a run?
Well, no. Well, my friend thinks they would, but
Okay.
one guy does not make a team. You got to give North Branch a lot of credit for a team that's traveling to practice, and they're always playing in an away game wherever they go, and they must have some talent and skill set there because they made it to the big show. They beat Chisago Lakes.
It's a great story. No
You got
doubt
to
about it.
understand this little corridor coming down from Forest Lakes, Chisago Lakes, to North Branch, to Hinckley, to Mora, to Finlayson, all that is all growing. And their high schools are growing.
Yeah.
So with that, you're going to have more athletes, and with more athletes, they're going to have more hockey players because all the athletes usually play hockey.
And North Branch had a very nice football team as well in the last fall, so I'll add that in there is to take back your point
Yeah.
about them having a lot of athletes. Second game.
And yeah, we've talked a little bit too much on North Branch,
Yes,
but
we
it is
have.
their first appearance, but I think that's pretty cool. St. Cloud beats them.
East Grand Forks against Minnesota River. Speaking of upstarts, Mike has got to be going with the upset here because he coached at Lesueur
Yep, the Giants.
back in the day, and now Lesueur,
1984.
and now Lesueur is paired up with St. Peter, Henderson, Tri-City, Cleveland, and Belle Plaine.
Yes. And if you know anything about Lesueur, the river goes through it is the
Minnesota.
Minnesota River.
Yep.
So they hence the name the Minnesota
And East
River.
Grand Forks beats them by.
Ooh, there won't be an upset here. It'll be bad, 5 or 6.
Okay, I say 7.
Okay.
Let's move to the number 1 seed Matamidi versus number 8 theoretically, only because of the draw. They get New Ulm. How many goals is this one going to get for Matamidi?
Well, when I coached the Le Sueur Giants, we'd played New Ulm in the playoffs the year I was there, and then they beat us. So we were in the same section as New Ulm at that time, which makes sense since Le Sueur St. Peter is not that far from New Ulm.
How this Minnesota River team got over into number 1, section 1 with Rochester teams and all those teams over there?
Well, they beat
is
the Lords.
beyond me.
Yeah.
I don't get it. How that's anyway. That's another story.
There has to
for
be
another
some
day.
geographical,
Matamidi by
political reason.
Matamidi by
Matamidi big 8.
9, somewhere
Yeah.
in there. All right, here's the game that everybody's talking about. Of course, Dello the number.
What happened to Mammal this year?
Who knows? They probably had to move up to AA where they belong. The
Oh, here we go. Okay, Delano, probably the game of the night.
Delano and Greenway, the 4-5 game. Delano the 4, Greenway the 5. Of course, we all know about Greenway and the upset of Hermantown. And
I feel bad for the number 4 and the number 1 seed because Greenway is going to beat them both. Matamidi, sorry, Jesse Pierce. I know that's your alma mater, and sometimes she watches the show. At least she says she does. But Greenway's a class of this field. They got 2 lines that can go with any AA team or most AA teams, and they got a pretty good goalie who proved that against Hermantown, and their D are solid. So I got Greenway beating Delano.
Greenway beating Delano, I agree, very close.
Okay.
I'm going to say a 2-goal game.
Yeah, 1 or 2
just
goal
because
game.
of the big lights.
Be
And we'll
the
see.
nerves, the
Greenway hopefully does not come up into the game with their head up their rear because of all of the air that's been blowing up their backsides about how great they are because they beat Hermantown.
Yeah.
I hope that for the IRC and all of northern Minnesota that they put on a great show and do it. I do have them winning, and I say by 2 goals.
Yeah, lots of storylines there, and then it'll be fun, and it'll also help Greenway having all these TV timeouts. So
Absolutely, that's a very good point. All right, let's talk semifinals. So we've got St. Cloud Cathedral versus East Grand Forks in the 2-3 game on Friday morning, starting at 11:15ish.
East Grand's always a tough out. They always try to find a way and have found a way to get to the finals many times, beating Hermantown a couple times in the finals. But I think St. Cloud's just too much. They should be a AA school, but they're going to win this game.
I agree. St. Cloud Cathedral, close though, 4-3.
Maybe.
Close.
Yeah.
4-3. And then on the bottom game, I already
got Greenway.
You already feel bad for Matamidi.
I don't feel bad for them. I just you can't beat them.
I am going to take Greenway in this game in the upset because Matamidi is going to go, it's Greenway. Blah, blah, they're going to look past them, and Greenway comes up with the upset. Again, this game may have to go to overtime in order for that to happen, but I believe it'll be Greenway and St. Cloud Cathedral, which we agree on.
Matamidi is going to say they should have got their choice. Can we be the 1 or 2? Where's Greenway at? Right?
They're too arrogant for that.
Yeah, you're right.
They're too arrogant for that. All right, so we're to the championship game.
Greenway.
And he's got Greenway.
The reason I got
he's
that
going
is
IRC,
the main
baby.
thing is TV timeouts, especially in the championship game where they got to make their money on those ads, so they're going to have lots of commercials between that game. So I like Greenway because they get a lot of resting.
St. Cloud Cathedral wins. Greenway does run out of gas, not enough in the tank. I know they get the extra day off on Thursday. 3 games in 4 days will take its toll.
Yeah.
And I got St. Cloud
AA,
Cathedral.
the big schools.
The big schools, White Bear Lake and Blaine first game.
Blaine.
Teams that are really close geographically, but of course in different sections.
Yeah, the White Bear Lake, Hill Murray section, little down. White Bear, pretty excited after the game. I saw some of the video of that. That was pretty cool. They went all their fans, but Blaine will have this Brodzinski kid who's going to the U. He's like the 4th brother in line here, so I like Blaine.
Blaine, I agree. 3 goals.
3
goal game, 5-2.
They're all going to be 2-goal games, 1 2-goal game.
Lakeville South, Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie, the number 3 seed.
It's kind of like Lakeville South. I look at it as when I played the Minneapolis section.
Okay.
Because the Southwest or Roosevelt or I think one time Washburn snuck in there, but the Minneapolis section. That's why a lot of the range schools, we called it the Minneapolis Invitational because St. Paul and Minneapolis each got a team in automatically, while top 5 teams were sitting up north not being able to come to the big dance. But anyways, I call the Lakeville South, Lakeville North section the Lakeville section because it's either north or south every year. The Rochester teams can't compete with them. But Eden Prairie, young Middlestat. Watch this young Middlestat.
Lakeville South was the number 4 seed in their section. That doesn't mean a whole lot, but in my mind, number 4 comes out and EP takes this one again, probably by a couple of goals. The number 1 seed, the Edina Hornets, taking on Moorhead.
I think they have the toughest first round game.
Moorhead's gonna.
I think Moorhead's going to give them everything. They got a Frisch kid who's going to North Dakota. I believe he's still there, and Evan Frisch, defenseman, solid, and they usually have a bunch of good forwards that all can skate. Edina's going to have a hard time, but they're going to find a way to win this one.
Is there a way that we can find a way to lock Lou Nanny in his cage back in Edina so we don't have to listen to him during this game?
You know, I've never. We all know he's from Edina, and I think. I think
he doesn't have to cheer for Edina.
He's an interesting guy, and
I love the guy to death, but he should not get to do the Edina games because he's. Yeah.
He usually tries to stay in part. I don't know if there's any more nannies. I mean, how many grandkids can he have? I mean,
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Edina does win the game. Over
close. Moorhead could pull one.
Duluth East, St. Thomas Academy, the 4-5 game, and I'm going with Duluth East.
Too big.
Just been there. I mean, not that St. Thomas has, and St. Thomas Academy does have a trump card. The Vanellis are hanging it up after this season, so the boys will be playing maybe a little extra hard for the coaches to see how this is their last go around. But Duluth East finds a way.
Yeah, STA moved up to AA. They've made it about, I think probably 6 years. They made it 3 times out of the 6. They, of course, are never going to win another state championship, I don't think, unless they got some good recruits coming in next year. But I like Duluth in this game. I like that Ryder Donovan. He's one kid you want to watch. Going to Wisconsin. And
I'm sorry, everybody, that we just keep agreeing here because this is really kind of. I was hoping that we were going to have a good banter about something, but we keep agreeing. So let's go.
East is big. They're big.
They're big.
Yeah.
Let's go to the
little suspect in goal though. A little worried about their goaltender.
Blaine and Eden Prairie, the 2-3 game on Friday night. That's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 2 players to watch here: Brodzinski and Middlestat. I believe I have Blaine. I like Blaine, and I think they're going to get to the state final.
I take EP.
Nice.
I just
again the surprise win. They didn't beat Minnetonka on Mears, so they're the ones that knocked out our defending state champs in Minnetonka. So obviously Eden Prairie. Lee Smith is a good coach, a great guy. That wouldn't hurt me at all if Eden Prairie got in, but I just see Blaine beating them.
Edina Duluth East, the other semifinal.
Upset.
Edina, right? That's the upset. Edina wins.
I got Duluth East getting to the finals. I like Mike Randolph. I think he's been through a lot, and he's been able to keep all his kids in the program. He's not losing any of them to Marshall or Hermantown. They're all Glen Avon kids. Keep it up, and they keep moving up the program. So I like Duluth East. They're big, strong, tough, and I think physically they're going to wear Edina down.
Edina wins that game. They take on EP in the championship by my standards.
You cakey.
And EP wins it all. Eden Prairie, your state champion.
I got Blaine.
And he's got Blaine.
Yeah.
So we finally disagreed. That's
anybody got any cake? Huh? Anybody cake for the cake eater here? Yeah.
You just got to call the way. I suppose, is that cake better than chalk? Is that I was waiting for the chalk, but I went with a number 3 seed. You went with a 2 seed.
I went with a 2 and a 2 and a 5.
That's right. You went with Greenway. That's right. You bleed IRC. So
hey, I'm not reviewing all the information.
You didn't have a choice but to go.
Because these shows come out Tuesday now, and I don't want all my buddies who watch weather. I don't want them all, looking at what I'm going because they're all going to take the same as me. I want to win this thing.
I want to win it too, baby. That's what it's all about, is winning. Anything else before we go to the Q&A? Because Paul was not here last week. And he's probably
Wild Nashville tomorrow night.
Wild Nashville tomorrow night. You're correct. I forgot about
Tuesday night. Yeah, that's in Nashville. It'll be a tough win. We'll see.
Hey, we had fun yesterday at the Muskie boys hockey game.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately,
they
dropped the 3-2 overtime decision to Sioux North. And so anyway, what do you got for us, Paul?
Oh, he's got a pad.
First off is, who was the pitcher that beamed the most amount of batters?
The pitcher that beamed the most amount of batters.
Nolan Ryan. That's what I say.
Nolan Ryan, that could very well, that could possibly be because he pitched for like
Pitched a long time.
1,000 years, it was like, and then he was not afraid to go inside and get after. I would think that Jenkins, I'm trying to think of
Ferguson Jenkins?
Ferguson Jenkins
That's not bad.
might
I
have been.
like Fergie.
How about Tiant? Louis Tiant had a little bit of a temper. He liked to.
Yeah, but he couldn't throw the ball over 60 miles an hour, so he wasn't going to hurt anybody.
Well, it's not necessarily that you have to do that. But
Yeah.
someone,
Do
there's
you have
not
the
even-
answer?
No, I don't. I'm here.
That's a good question.
You know, it's typical, Paul.
I would like to know.
Q&A. You're supposed to.
You ask a question that you don't have the answer to. Matt, do you know it?
I don't know, but Paul, his other question, he said that he got this package of venison from somebody from this last fall, and he was wondering what you guys' favorite way was to cook venison testicles.
The venison testicles stay in the woods.
Low and slow.
That is the way. All right, Paul. What's next?
All right, what do you think about Osseo and Maple Grove this year for hockey?
Osseo and the Broncos were actually supposed to play at the Christmas tournament, the holiday tournament in
Yeah.
Moore Road. Unfortunately, due to weather circumstances, that did not occur. Other than that's about all I can tell you about
Big
Osseo.
eventually, Maple Grove made it to the finals. They did lose to Blaine in the finals of their section. Maple Grove, the Crimson's been up there. Do I see them eventually merging? Yes. Hasn't happened yet. Osceo's kind of been there a lot longer than Maple Grove has. And of course, Trent Klatt played at Osseo and was an all-star there. But I think that's what's going to hold up this merger, but I think it should happen and it will happen. Osseo and Maple Grove will be one school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why
One
not?
hockey team, not
One
one
hockey
school.
team, one hockey team. Yeah.
Okay.
The Orioles.
The Orioles. What else you got there?
So what do you get somebody for their 4-year anniversary? Or what do you guys get each other for your?
4-year anniversary? Well, I could say,
I took him out to Buffalo Wild Wings for our 4th anniversary.
yeah, I guess that's what we did. And he didn't buy, but, you know, that's fine. We went to what, Laws or
Yeah, LA's place.
LA's place? It's pretty cool. It's
For
in the
breakfast,
Hermantown
yeah.
area. Really good greasy spoon, good breakfast.
Yeah, good stuff.
Anything else?
Yep. Worst draft pick of all time.
For who?
Ooh, any?
Or any draft, you know.
Wow.
I would say the guy out of Green Bay.
Brett Favre?
No, he was the second overall pick.
Mandrich.
Mandrich, Tony Mandrich.
Tony Mandrich. Got to be maybe the worst. Yeah, he was on the roids.
Number 2 overall pick. Maybe Brian Bosworth could be number 2, but those would be the two I would.
Those would probably be the
come
two
to
big
mind.
for NFL wise.
NFL.
Yeah, I would say
Biggest quarterback. I guess big quarterback. Bad draft.
I was thinking I was going to a different
Jeff
sport.
George?
Yeah, Jeff George was.
He had a
was
couple good years.
He was a dink. I was thinking Sam Bowie in the 1984
basketball?
draft for NBA, who got
Well,
drafted
he's
right
one
before
that-
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, you got to think
Oops, Portland.
Akeem Olajuwon was wrong too, but they won two titles with him.
Huh?
But
Huh?
good question.
All right, last one is, what do you think of the upcoming tractor plow contest?
There's a tractor plow contest coming up.
Yeah, I believe it's this year. People come throughout the world. They haul their tractors over, and they.
And where is this occurring?
It's in Coaching County.
It's in Coochin County.
Well, we should maybe be there to broadcast.
Boy, that sounds like fun. It sounds like fun. I have no knowledge of this event.
Is this a speed event?
I don't know much about.
I know
it.
tractor
Maybe
pulls
you
are
guys-
usually with a
I
weighted
know
thing
it's
that
not
the
quite
weight
same sport, but
slides up. As it gets heavier.
Yeah.
Boy,
I'm going to go with the no comment.
I'm all
enough.
for it. However,
Yeah.
I've got one question. I got asked a sports question today, right before I came here.
Okay.
Which is the heaviest implement in sports? Is it a puck, a baseball, a football, or a basketball? Which is the heaviest?
I'll say a basketball.
Mike says basketball. What do you guys got? Basketball, football, puck, or baseball, the heaviest?
is it deflated?
Doesn't matter.
In
Doesn't matter.
playing condition.
In playing condition. That's a good way of putting it.
I say a puck.
I say there's no way it's a baseball or a puck. It's either basketball or football, and I'm going to go basketball.
I looked them up. I have the answer.
Yes.
This isn't whatever. I looked them up. The lightest of them is a baseball,
Yep.
5 to 5 1/4 ounces.
Yep.
Puck is next, between 5 1/2 and
Yep,
6
so
ounces.
I'm right on this.
A football is 14 to 16 ounces, and a basketball weighs 22 ounces.
So, 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
I got them all right.
There you go.
That's why I got the show. Bully and ringer. Don't take us too serious.
This program brought to you by Brewski's Bar and Grill, located in Utica, Minnesota. Your one-stop shop for delicious burgers, fries, pizzas, and more.